Let me know. Anyone, just whether you can see my screen or not. You can see my screen, correct?
Yes, Aptika.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. So let's get started today's session. So whatever we have learned yesterday, it's basically what is data and the basic concept of relational database. What is relational database? What is non-relational database? So today I picked up relational database, that is RDBMS, with some basic features, and we can get started today with the database concept. I mean, in the practical scenario, you have to choose any database to work on. So, I mean, not only one database, actually, if you are just live in a project, you can see multiple databases you are connecting and you are fetching data from that databases. Okay. You are doing SQL queries. That means the language that I told earlier yesterday. So on top of the databases, you are querying on that one for analytics part and all. So that thing will be proceeding later. But today we'll be just going ahead with some normalization process, how the normalization happen in the database side and the database concept, what is database, and a simple database hands-on. We'll be installing one databases over here for this class, that is MySQL database. This is a open source and free software. I'll be giving you the link so that you can quickly check it from your side and install it for your own system. Okay. Okay, so let's get started with RDBMS. What is the first topic? Let's check with data without normalization. Okay, so the first topic today we are going to learn is normalization of data. Okay, from today's session, I have a Excel prepared for this to. Okay, so just check this data. The first table. So when we are receiving the data from source or maybe from any users or anyone who is not technically so sound, so they might, I mean, send the particular data in this kind of format. Okay. So over here, I just took a table which is having a student ID, student name, then the course ID for that particular student who is achieving which course. So the course ID is there and how much course fees the student is paying. Okay. So this is a simple kind of table. I received it. Let's say I'm in one particular training center. Okay. So whatever I'm receiving from their side, it's not a normalized one, but we need to make it normalized. I mean, the data engineer should make it a normalized one for further process or for further, I mean, optimization of table spaces as well as to store the data in the database. Okay, so we need to follow the optimization process, which is called normalization over here. So what is normalization and how we can make it? This is the concept I'll be covering today. So first of all, that first table that I received from the particular administration of our training center. So this one is not a normalized one. This is a denormalized table. We can say over here. Why it is denormalized? I'll be just coming up the next slide. Just let me maximize it because I'll be going to Excel and again in PPT. Okay, so why normalized is required? Because I mean, we if we just work on top on that particular table by querying on that one, you can store the table in the databases as well. So if we do the normalization, then we can store the table. It should be taking less spaces. Okay, as well as I mean, there is I mean, if there is any duplicate in the tables that can be eliminated by the normalization process, the result set should be very smaller and we can easily store that particular table into databases. Okay, so we can avoid issues or any error, or if there is anything we can quickly detect if the tables are normalized in nature. So those are all, I mean, the main top, I mean, main points that That is why we need to do the normalization process on top of the tables. So what are the normalization process? Let me go to that step. There are quite normalized form is there. This is first normalized form, 1NF. So what we can do, as I told that we need to check as the normalization process, no duplicate record should be there. So the admin mistakenly take this particular record. You can see this one. Let me highlight it. And this one. Those are duplicate in nature. And see no changes is there. For the student Sonu, the course ID is same as well as the same course fee. I mean for A12 course, Sonu is paying 800 as well as for A13 it's 300 and it's same for the two rows. So it's not and it's a denormalized process. They did not check it proper way. So as for the data engineer, if we want to make it a normalized one, we need to check whether there is any duplication. If there is any duplication, then we need to eliminate the duplicated rows. Okay, so this is the first fundamental thing to make a table normalized one. Okay, let's eliminate that one. And you can see I have eliminated this thing. That is one step. Let me check if there is anything. Okay, this is a step. Each record should be unique. So there should not be any duplicated thing. And another part is each cell should not, should contain a single value. Over here, we can see that particular cell is containing multiple values, separating comma. Okay. The course fees as well, it is separated in a semicolon because you can see there are two separate courses are there, but the admin also put the thing in a this way. A12 should be the course fee should be 800 and A13 is 300. But as a normalized form, specifically first normalized form 1NF, the particular table, a particular element, a particular cell does not contain multiple values. Okay, if this is the scenario, we need to split A12 and A13 in a separate row. This is the scenario I want to share over here. So the particular right hand side table, this table I have created to maintain the first normalized form. Okay, so I can write it over here. We are converting this table in a first normalization form. This is this one. It's a bit normalized than this one. Okay. So what two functions we have done? We just checked if there is any duplicate part. If there is any duplicate, we have removed that one. This is total. This is a duplicate one. You can say. But over here you can question. The 12 is duplicate. Student ID 12 is duplicated. But over here, the total row you can see 12 Sonu A12 over here 12 Sonu A13. So the two rows are not duplicated. The particular student is having multiple course IDs assigned to him. He is taking multiple classes for this coaching center and paying separate fees. Okay, so that's why the particular records has been splitted. We have splitted Sonu in this way. The same thing for Raj. You can see he is achieving A11, A14. So the same way we have split it for Raj courses. Now this table we can see it's in normalized form. First normalized. Anything is sorry. Anyone is saying anything? Please. Okay. If there is any doubt or any stuck point while understanding the thing, you can please tell me. Okay. Okay. So now that particular table at the right hand side, it's in first normalized form. As of now, we have covered for this first normalized form. Now we need to move ahead with the second normalized form. This is a quite normal and we can go ahead with this normalized form if anyone needs a particular table to be normalized. Okay. So over here, we need to check For the second normalized form, we need to check whether the table is normalized one or not. First of all, first normalized. Okay. So the prerequisite thing is the table should be in 1NF format. And the second one, removal of partial dependencies. So this is a very much important stuff. Let me quickly share by the example. What is removal of partial dependencies? So partial dependencies on the particular key. Okay. So over here, student ID is the key column. It's not the primary key. I'll be telling why it's not the primary key. Because I told earlier day that primary key cannot be duplicated. It should be unique always. But over here, you can see, as Sonu is taking multiple courses, so that's why only the student ID is not the primary key. I'll be coming to this point later. But we need to check whether the student ID, that particular column, every column should be dependent on the student ID. If there is not full dependency, if there is partial dependency, then the particular column should be segregated from the table. It should be eliminated from the table and we need to create a new data set. Just like see, student name is dependent on student ID, that is fine. Course ID, a particular course ID, which student is taking which course. There is also dependency on that one, course ID with the student ID. Now check with course fee. Course fee is not directly dependent on the student ID. Rather, we can say course fee is dependent on the course ID itself. Okay, so this is the partial dependency. Student ID cannot be directly course fee cannot be directly depend on student ID. Rather, we can say it's partial dependent. So that's why I have eliminated that column and created a new data set over here to make it a second normalized form. So what we have done till now, by this three column, we prepared this table. Okay. As course fee does not have fully dependent on student ID, I have eliminated course fee. So this is a course table. I can say course table. This is student table. Over here, I just put the course ID along with course fee. You can say I did not use the same course, table structures. It's like A11 should be 500, A12. Then again, you can see A11. You can see this repetition. So I cannot put the same thing over here. Rather, I have removed the remove the duplication of these two columns and I have created a new table, the course table over here. So this is the thing we have made it a normalized table and those two tables are normalized in nature. And what is the advantage? I just told you. So, and if anyone, one more thing, if anyone, just suppose we need to check before over here, we can check Sonu is taking which courses and how much fees he need to pay. But from this table, from the single table, we cannot see which particular course fee Sonu is paying over here. So for that thing, we need to learn join. Join will be joining dependent on the course ID between two table, and we can fetch which particular courses Sonu is picking up. Which course fees he is paying. So this kind of stuff, joining concept we'll be learning later, maybe 2 or 3 days, when we'll be dive into SQL part. But over here, as of now, I just want to learn you how we can segregate the tables based on normalization. And if we just store the database, we need to store the database, this kind of normalized table only. Okay. So there is also helpful, we can get help from denormalized table as well while we will be doing analytics. Uh, but we'll be doing OLAP analysis, OLAP. But for OLTP, all the tables should be, OLTP means transactional table. For this transactional table, every table should be normalized in nature. There cannot be any denormalized table for sake of storing at the database. Okay. As well as, hmm, that cannot be, stored in databases as well as, for fetching the data. while preparing the query. That is also helpful for this kind of nature. Okay. And these two easier, I mean, this for these two concepts, we need to make it normalized. This is very important concept. Uh, I mean, if you have any doubt or anything, you can quickly ask me now on that process.
After changing into one normal form, two normal forms, still the student ID is not unique, right? It's not a primary key.
Yeah, correct. So there we can, it's correct. So if student ID is not a primary key over here, we can say, let me show you. Primary key cannot be a single column as well. Primary key can be a combination of two columns. Let me share in this way. Hopefully that should be understandable. Mm, let me just eliminate this thing. Let me left, sorry. Yeah. So over here, student ID, whatever, I just pick up a simple example. Okay. So over here, student ID is not a primary key. Rather, we can say the combination of student ID and course ID. It is a primary key. The student ID and course ID, we cannot see it's a duplicated one. Okay. So in our scenario, we can see this kind of concept. Not a single key is a primary key. If we have only student table, they will be not taking any course ID. Then it should be a, then student ID should be a primary key. Just like student name, STD name. Okay. So there we can, that it should be primary one. 11, 12, 13, 14. Pankaj, Sonu, Raj, Peter. But we cannot establish the course with the student quickly. If, I mean, there is no matching column, then we cannot tally with the thing. I'll be coming this point later, but just, I mean, try to answer your question. The primary key is not unique based on student ID, because over here, uh, at this normalized stage, we can say the composite key, the combination of student ID and course ID is a primary key for that table. Is that understandable, Dipti?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be coming later. What is primary key, foreign key, just like composite key, quickly after this normalization form. If there is any doubt from any other, just quickly ask me. Okay, hopefully no. So I have also prepared this course ID as a composite over here. I mean, it's called a surrogate key as well. So over here, if I just going to receive the particular format from the admin section, okay, they just directly put the subject name over here. Do not use the course IDs. So there we need to choose another course ID. This is another normalized one. So we can say the particular admin, they have done a bit normalized by giving us the course ID. So basically, when we are taking something from the business, so they just can put a simplest manner. So they will not be putting course ID over here. They will be putting the course names. So there's when we'll be creating the particular course table, then we can create the course ID over here, and we can split it the course table with course ID, course name, and course fee. So this kind of stuffs in the practical scenario we can see. Okay, let me just check what is there in the next slide. So hopefully we all understand what is normalization, because this is very important concept when we'll be digging. I mean, when we'll be checking later what is the thing, and in later section maybe when you are going ahead with any jobs or anything, there is not uh, this much rows over there. I told you earlier, there may be thousands or lakhs of records. Okay, so not just like Excel thing we'll be doing there. We will not be eliminating the thing. We cannot be checking the duplication thing in this manner. Okay, we have to check everything by writing SQL query. on top of the tables, because there are lots of records we need to check in this way only. So the same thing we'll be doing, but not in this manner. It should be from by the structured query language that is called SQL. Okay. So let me go to the next slide. What is the key? Okay, let me just keys in SQL. Now, this Dipti just asked me just a question: what is primary key, composite key, foreign key? So over here, as this is open one, so by this table we can say this particular combination of column is the primary key of that table. Okay. Over there, we can also say for this table, course ID is the primary key. Okay. But when we are picking this thing over here, it is also been used as a foreign key. So when we'll be joining between these two table, okay. For student ID, as Dipti already mentioned, student ID alone should not be the primary key over here for this table. But if we have in this way, only student table, I just mentioned 1 1, 1 2, 1 3, 1 4, 13 is Raj. We are not mentioning Sonu twice over here, Raj twice over here. Rather, when we are creating the table, we need to check whether it's properly normalized, as we're normalizing nature. Okay. So over there, if this is only student table, then student ID, just like student roll number, it should not be, it should always be unique for that particular classes. But if we are picking up all the students in a particular school, okay, then we can see, uh, I mean, roll number one for class one student, standard one student, and roll number two for standard, and roll number one for standard two student. The roll number is same for two classes. Then we need to pick class as well as the roll number. The combination of those two is a primary key for the new table for the entire students in a particular school. Okay, so that is called composite key. It's not maybe two only two address. I mean, two attributes. It may be multiple attributes as well. So based on which business logic the particular table is getting, I mean, populating from the source system, we need to check it with the business. We need to understand the thing, and we need to determine which should be the primary key, whether it's a single column or it's a composite column. Okay. So this is the difference between, I mean, composite key. It's not actually composite key, maybe a primary key as well. So this is not the difference. Primary key means a single column. I mean, the particular column, it's not actually basically I've done is, so a column used to column, not only a. So this should be that. Column used to uniquely identify a table. So primary key, composite key might be a primary key. Okay. A set of columns used to uniquely define the rows in a table. Okay. Now what is foreign key? So just like mentioned while doing the joining part between two tables, I need to check we need to check what is the common column between two tables. Just like over here, course ID is present over here. So when we need to check in later, what is the fees paid by student ID 11? We cannot check from this table. We need to join between two tables. Okay. And we need to fetch the thing from here. So for that, joining criteria should be there. Based on course ID, the two tables can be joined. Okay. So course ID is a primary key for this table. And if as I mean we are joining this table over here using course ID, so course ID we can taking into consideration as a foreign key for this table. Okay, so this is the concept of foreign key. Hopefully, I can able to uh, convey my message and you can understand what is foreign key. So foreign key basically I'm repeating once more. So for a primary table, for a primary table, which is the primary key? That primary key may be foreign key for another table. Okay. So this is the concept, and the everything. This kind of stuffs. The concept. If your concept is clear today, then while doing the joining part in later section, maybe Friday I'll be learning. We all can learn join Friday or next Monday. Then, if the concept is clear, then we can quickly go through the stuffs without mentioning all the details again. Okay, fine. Hopefully everyone can understand. So I think those are the basic thing. The basic features, mandatory features we need to learn before deep dive into the database part. So database, what is database? And database is just like we whatever we have learned over here, it's totally on Excel. Just for quick, simple, sample rows over here, 5 to 6 rows are there, and we can quickly learn the things uh, by the Excel. That is fine. But when we are doing the thing for the practical basis, as you are the data engineer for a particular big company. Suppose you are doing the job under some insurance company. Okay, so daily basis transaction, the premium paid by the users, the coverage they are getting. So for each of the subject area, there should be multiple tables. Okay, there are lots of business concept to establish a logic. In the industry side, to store that particular thing, we cannot use Excel. We need the concept of database that time. Data, functionally it's the same. It's storing the data at the tabular format, but the thing is not Excel or Microsoft Access because they cannot store huge value. We cannot query on top of them. If if Excel is having thousands of rows, we cannot quickly check particular row by. We can check in Control F, but this is Control F and search a cell value there. That is fine, but it's not the efficient way to check it, and it's also not quicker way. Okay, so that's why we need to choose a database. A particular architect need to choose the database. Not only single database, there may be multiple database, but for everything to store over there, we need the database to store the thing. So just like a pictorial representation, I just picked it over here. The database along with the table. You see, those are, lots of tables are getting stored over here in the databases. And there are lots of databases in the enterprises. Practical purpose, we can see if we are already onboarded in a project, then we can see they are using those kind of database. Those are separate. Uh, separate. Companies there for supporting databases. Okay, so there's MySQL database. I think lots of things you have already heard, just like Oracle. For Microsoft, there's a product called Microsoft SQL Server, Teradata, Postgres. Those are the new database. Those are scalable in nature. So nowadays, when we will be learning cloud, we can see. Data for database, we have to push a memory as well. So it is stored on some hard disk. The tables are being stored in hard disk. And if the tables are full in the database, then the database will be full. But nowadays, if we are, migrating everything into cloud, then the database has its own feature for the scalability. It can scale up. Suppose we have 2 GB in nature to store the database, but for the features of the cloud, we can quickly enhance the database size. That thing we'll be learning later when we'll be covering the cloud computing part. But those are the things: Postgres, Teradata, Redshift. Those are those are coming with the new features. Snowflake database is there with the easy scalability. Okay. But those are the basic databases we can see if we are just going to onboard in any of the project as a data engineer role. Okay. And okay, DB2 is there. I think this is the IBM tool. Now the thing is, we will be learning the SQL query language, structured query language on choosing one particular database. So if we learn the SQL, we can see that the basic concept is same, but we can see some keyword is different for different databases. But the main fundamental thing is same. We cannot learn quickly all the things at a single go. So for this course, we have chosen MySQL databases for this crash course, as this is an open source tool and it's the most popular open source, we can say. Maybe not most popular and most useful at the enterprise side, but most popular open source tool as we can quickly use it. Over here, it's a free of cost tool, so we can install it. Can directly search with MySQL. I mean, in Google, you can quickly search to MySQL downloader. Okay, so you can get it, and whether you have Mac or any Linux machine, you can choose your original version for that one. If you do
Hello,
not have,
sir, are
yeah,
you displaying the PPT or showing something different?
for the installation part,
Yeah.
I can share you the link. Okay, I think it's very simple actually. Just you, let me show you. Maybe after this course. Okay, let me finish this course quickly, and I'll be sharing you the link. Okay. And the thing is, in the link, you can see the installer. You just have to download the installer, whether you have Mac or Windows. Just download it and try to install it. I mean, it's very simple, nothing to do. Just you need to choose the drive where you need to install it. One thing you just need to do before configuring that particular database, that is the password. So the password it will be asking for at the beginning while configuring the database. So the same password is being used for the authentication part when you will be logging into the database daily basis. Okay, let me just cover up the session. I'll be checking if this is with me, that is fine. Otherwise, let me do one thing. I can prepare a quick video for the installation guide and I'll be giving you that particular one. Okay, that will be helpful, correct? Okay, I hope so.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Hmm. Okay, let me open the database from my console, my machine. I have installed MySQL and I can work, I mean, with the workbench. This is a software MySQL workbench. The version is 8. So that particular software is being installed at my local system. And the database is a backend one. And we can, on top of the database, we can use this interface, MySQL workbench. Database is just, we can say it's a memory allocation to store the database. And this workbench where we can query it, where we can put the language to check what is the data, where we can do the analytics part. The workbench may be a different one. This is a DOS mode. We can also open the MySQL and do the commands, but it's not a good user interface. And for the developer as well or anyone, for quickly do the things, I mean, we can, and for the beginner one as well. This graphical interface GUI tool we can use on this MySQL database. So as I have installed it, my database, the naming of the database is MySQL 80, and the user by default, it's picking up the username, it's root, and the port it's used 3306. For MySQL, the default port is 3306. Okay, so this is the password it is asking for. That password I have given while configuring the MySQL database earlier. So I'm just putting the password. Okay, now I'm inside the database. Okay, so the database is this MySQL 80, a local instance of MySQL 80. Over there, the first thing we need to do, if we are just going to log in. Okay, another thing I just want to mention, in the database, there is also management side. So who is managing the database? That is called DBA, database administration. So as the course is based on I mean, data engineers, specifically if when you are onboarded in a a particular company, the database should be managed by a different team that is called DBA. So we just need to raise access for a particular users for the DBA. But if you are installing the particular database in your local, you are the DBA yourselves only. over here. But when doing the enterprises thing, we just concentrating on the tables data, not the managing to give access to anyone or this kind of stuffs there. So that's why we'll not be covering the administration part. Maybe if we have some time, we can quickly cover at the last day of the sequel or anything. But we'll be focusing on the data engineering part. Okay. So next topic is schema that I just going to cover quickly. So database schema. What is database schema? When we have created a particular database over here, we can see this tab schema. So based on different business topic, okay, we can segregate the tables. So we can just like database is a plate, and based on different food item, just like I have a big plate and I have veg food. For the veg, I am putting a partition on my plate. So that partitioning thing is a schema over here. Suppose we are maintaining banking data. I mean, banking transaction data. So I have created two schemas. One is for credit, one is for debit. So all the credit related tables should be stored into credit schema, and debit related thing we can store in debit schema. So those are the stuffs. Actually, schema is just not a big thing. Inside the database, we can segregate the tables and grouping the tables, and we can store the thing at a particular schema based on which field or which area, which subject area it's covering. Just like over here, I created this thing, Teradata training purpose. So that particular schema, we can create the schema. How we can create it? Just we can right click over here, any one of the schema, and there's the option of create schema. Okay. So you can do either way. This is a graphical interface feature. We can also put query, create schema name. That is the main query. If we run the query, it should be automatically create a new schema. So just like I'm putting Teradata. Yes. Okay. You can see automatically it's backend. It will be firing this query. Create schema Teradata test. That is going to be created. So if I just going to apply it, it was executed, the backend got finished. So I can see this is the schema Teradata test just been created now. Okay. So if we are just, let me just, if we can delete, we can delete the schema as well. Right click, drop schema. We can review the SQL. It will be showing drop schema name. That is the thing, or we can directly do the thing from the graphical interface. Drop now. So each of them, I mean, nowadays, each of the table, I mean, each of the graphical interface has its own features as well. You can do the thing, clicking on top of that particular schema. But this is, I mean, a limited one. I mean, we can do this thing for this one, but not everything from the table level. That we can quickly learn when we will be proceeding with the tables. Now inside the schema, let's pick up this thing I have created earlier for the earlier session. Created data training purpose. Inside the particular schema, we can see those are the object that is called tables, views, store procedures, some inbuilt, some functions is inbuilt already inside the database, but some functions we can create as a user defined function, and those functions we can use while using store procedures. What is store procedures? What is views? What is functions will be coming later. But let me quickly cover the main important things. What is called table? The same kind of table that we stored over there, uh, in the Excel side, the same thing we can store it at the database at that particular schema, and that is the main thing we need to know while doing any particular development activity or support activity for any company as a data engineer. Okay, so let me just fire this query. We can say I can put the query over here. Select star from customer one. So this is the, I just put a basic SQL language. I'll be coming this thing later with more details. What is SQL query language? Maybe tomorrow. Just to show you how to check data. We can see the data by clicking on there in the below. You can see what are the different columns. There are columns ID, last name, first name, age, and what kind of data type, what kind of data it's storing. That is fine. For to checking data, to check the data for a particular table, we can just put this kind of command. We can fire the query and we can check the data. But unfortunately, we do not have any data for any columns. I will be learning this thing. We will be inserting that thing later. I have this table. I think employee table is there. I think that should be having some data. Let me just select it. Let me fire this thing. Okay, the output is here. It's having multiple columns called employee ID, employee first name, last name, employee address, employee salary, employee date of birth. Okay. So the what kind of Excel data we are showing over there. So the same thing we can check it over here. So just like this is a simple SQL query, we'll be coming to this thing later. Maybe starting from tomorrow's session. What is SQL query and what different kind of SQL query is there? How we can create the table. The table is already created over here. This has been done from the previous session. So how to create this table, how to insert the data, how we can manipulate the data, how we can update the data. For a particular, suppose we need to insert particular date of birth. Okay. Against a particular employee ID, suppose 3. So this kind of thing, we can do this thing over here quickly. It's not a big deal. We can quickly just run some language. We can just type some language and we need to fire it. That's all. Lots of kind of manipulation, aggregation function. So this kind of stuffs can be done by using the databases. So that's why we'll be using the databases and we'll be learning the database. Over here, you can say that you can see the employee ID is the primary key. It's not the unique. It's a unique one for each of the employee. Okay. So we'll be learning this thing later. Just a basic concept. What is database? And okay. And if there is anything, let me check. Yeah, I mentioned what are the basic database objects that I already showed to you. Table is the basic unit of storage. We need to know what is table, and the view, sequence, index, synonym. Those are all kind of thing. There is also store procedures that I showed to you earlier. If we just minimize the table, you can see tables, views. No views is created as of now. One store procedures is created. Function. So those are all the database objects. There is the indexing part as well. It's synonym is there as well. We'll be covering one by one. After covering the table, it's a basic SQL language on table, and quickly check on those stuffs. But the basic thing is table only. If you learn the table, then it's not a big deal to learn these things. That should be a simple. Maybe one day matter to learn everything. The table and how to do query on top of the table. This is the main important stuffs. We'll be going to go from tomorrow onwards. Okay. So I think there is nothing for today now. I'll be showing you the video. Okay, let me do one thing. I'll be preparing the video and I'll be sharing the link in the WhatsApp group. Okay. Or if any link is handy, I'll be just checking the link, checking the video, and I'll be sharing that link with you to quickly install the software at your own system. So I'm expecting everyone to install the software before tomorrow's session, so that when we'll be going ahead with the SQL query, SQL language, we can do this thing parallelly. So the thing should be understandable and you can quickly remember what we have done. And it should be a good hands-on exercise for all of us. Okay. So that's everything for today's session. If there is any questions, what we just learned, please ask me over here.
We have database objects in the PPT as sequence, index, synonym. Those we cannot find in the tool, right? And
Okay,
there
the
are other
indexing part.
objects in the.
Yeah, so everything, yeah, that's a question, good question. So we cannot see everything over here. Uh, Indexing is a part just like the same thing over here. It's we can say, I mean, indexing, how we can say, it's improving the performance of the some queries. So why we are doing the indexing? If we are having large databases, having millions of records, okay. So while fetching, I mean, suppose we are doing just a select query, we fire the select star from that particular millions of records table. If we are running the table, we can see lots of time it's taking. Maybe 15 minutes. I mean, not only 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes or just like this. Sometimes database, particular database is having timeout as well. So it's checking that the particular query doesn't throw any output. So timeout trigger has been there. It has been triggered and the query has been failed and everything can be hanged as well. So to avoid this kind of scenario, indexing is there. Indexing is just we can impose the indexing on top of the key part, I mean key columns over there. So in doing that one, it should be partitioning the thing on top of the database file where the database is getting stored. So after doing the indexing thing, if we just go ahead with the select query again or select with some filter, can quickly check the improvement of the performance. Okay, so it's not directly present over here as an object. But while learning the indexing, we can put some comments and we can quickly learn what is indexing. Maybe indexing is clearly visible in other databases, just like call Microsoft SQL Server. But over here, we can do the index, but it's not visible over here. We can learn the thing with, I mean, we can dip it over there in the later courses. Okay, what is index? What is synonym? What is view? What is materialized view? The other database objects. Okay, is it clear, Dipti?
Yeah, and we also have various databases, right? All the databases have same. It's kind of similar to MySQL query language or the other language they would have.
Yeah, correct. So just like select star from the employee. Yeah, this kind of thing. I mean, the basic command is same, but the functions you can see it's a different one. So if anyone is common who have already covered in the last particular last session, so there we use the concatenation function. Concatenation is a string function where we can concatenate two different string. So there we can check there is a symbolic difference between two functions. What we are using over here in MySQL and what we are using in Oracle or any other, just like Microsoft SQL Server. So this kind of functions notation are different, but concatenation, the function objective, this is same. So that's why if we learn only one database, it's fine to handle the other thing as well. You can, if you have the knowledge, what are the function we are going to do, then we can quickly search it over there in web as well. So basically, the basic concept you will be give. I mean, you can get it from here from this crash course. But over there, maybe you are onboarded in a new project, not using the MySQL, but you have the concept over there, and you can quickly, I mean, select star and putting filter, putting grouping, putting order by statement. It's simple and it's common for everything. But for specific function, it's a different in syntactical method. So that thing you can quickly check, just like concatenation, how we can do the concatenation on this DB. You can quickly check the syntax and quickly put it there. I'm not necessarily saying that it will be different, but some function may be different, some function may be same. But the overall concept is same, just the syntactic uh, language is different. Some syntax should be different. So that thing we can quickly cover as well if we have any other databases handy with us. But as of now, we can cover only MySQL. You can learn the basic things over here, and we can apply the same thing later when we are onboarded into later databases works. Okay,
Okay, finally, the syntax is different, but the concepts are same, right?
correct, correct. Just like
Okay.
let me do the thing concatenate. So over here, we if we just want to concatenate the first name and last name. can put the concat function or concatenate. I need to check it. It's more. I can also show you from the web. So concat, let me use concat function. Just like in Excel, if you're in using Excel, you can see concat and concatenate. Both are present when you are doing any concatenation function.
Yeah.
So you can just pass the thing, first name, which particular thing you want to concatenate.
Employee
Okay.
last name.
Okay. We can get the thing. It's been concatenated. Let me put a space over here. I'll be concatenating space. This is a very good example to learn the thing. It's not concatenated properly. That's the issue. Give me 1 second. Let me put a full name. I'm aliasing the thing as a full name. Okay, we can see one space is getting added over here. Okay, but if we check the, let me put check on where concatenation in Oracle DB. So we are using this operator in Oracle. It should be working in this way. If we are using Oracle database, then we need to use in this way. Just like in comma, you can use this double pipeline. This is the concatenation operator there. We are not using concatenation function. So this is the operator, just like employee first name, this operator, a space, operator, employee last name. I'm aliasing entire thing is a full name from employee. If we run the same thing over here, it should be throwing error. Okay, it's not throwing error, but it's getting zero records because this particular, it's not able to understand what is this operator. But the same query, if I mean run the thing at the Oracle, it should be running fine. So this is the different. Okay. Just we need to know the function. If we are quite good in a particular database, believe me, it's very simple to manage the other databases as well. It's not a big deal. And daily basis, and not daily basis actually, you can check. I mean, in a few days later, a new database has been launched with new extra features and all, and your organization has taken that databases for the project, but you do not have the expertise or knowledge on that one. But this is not the big deal. You know the basics. You can quickly jump into Google and check what is the syntax. Just you need to know the function. What is the function? What is the requirement you are going to do? The basic syntax is same, but uh, the few difference is there based on some syntax. That's all. Okay. Is it okay, Dipti?
Yeah, okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone? Okay, hopefully no. So let's connect tomorrow. I'll be preparing some video. Maybe within few moments, or give me some time. If there is any video already available with MySQL installation, I'll be quickly sharing you the link. So just try to install the thing at your side. Maybe hardly 15 minutes video, and also the installation will not take much time. 10-15 minutes it should be covered. So you can just quickly refer that one and quickly install the thing at your side. So
Yeah,
let's
I
connect
have one
tomorrow with.
question.
Yeah, hi Tanvir. Yeah, tell me.
I haven't done the first class, so like, can you like share any videos or something like for the first class? Like,
Yeah,
is
yeah,
this
sure.
class recorded? Can you
Yeah,
like
all the
share
classes
the
have
two
been
class?
recorded. All the classes have been recorded, and that particular thing has been uploaded in YouTube channel. There is a YouTube channel over there. So I'll be requesting Lohit, or let me check if the link is handy with me. I'll be just pinging the same thing in the group. Okay, WhatsApp group. The
Thank you
first
very
you can check it's been segregated with today's day 2 class. So check day 1 or maybe with day. Let me check the link. Okay, and I'll be pinging you the same thing within few
much. Okay,
moments.
thank you very much. Thank you.
It's nothing big deal. We have done covered yesterday session. It is just like a simple data introduction. What is data and how it's been managed by the data engineer. And I mean, why data engineers are required in the corporation or any company. So this is the thing. And what separate kind of datas are there? I mean, just like relational database, there is non-relational database as well. No SQL. It's a important steps as well. But today we have, today onwards we'll be covering up relational database RDBMS, which is the most important steps as a data engineer because the analytical function and everything should be stored over here. But what there is also definitely some features available with the NoSQL that is called the non-relational databases. So that thing we can quickly cover with very high level in later chapters. But the main focus is should be only on the RDBMS. Okay. Okay, then that's all for today's session. I'll be recording something for you for database installation and I'll be providing you something very soon. And for Tanvir, I'll be providing you the link for yesterday's session. Okay, that's all for now. Let's connect tomorrow at the same time. Thanks everyone. Bye bye. Have a great day.
Thank you.